Hi, student organization presidents. Welcome back for the spring semester. We know that this semester will look a little different than other semesters at TCU, just like last semester did, but we know that you're eager to maintain connections with your members and work toward your mission and goals. My name is Dee Dee Williams-Van, and I'm the Director of Student Organizations, Learning and Development. In my role, I have the opportunity to work with great student leaders like you. I've been at TCU for 15 years now in a variety of roles focused on leadership development. I'm passionate about helping to support you in your journey of leadership, as well as assisting you to ensure your organizations are successful in their operations. I've also been in your shoes as a student leader at TCU 20 years ago, so I really appreciate all the hard work and energy you put into your role as president.
Hi everyone, I'm Sierra Jackson and I'm a first-year graduate student in TCU's Higher Education Leadership Program. I'm also a graduate assistant working with student organizations. For my undergrad, I attended A&M and was an involved student leader in organizations just like you. I'm excited to work with you this year to support you in your efforts. Normally, we would have these student organization annual trainings in person so that you could meet other presidents and we would have some activities for you to share your goals with one another, as well as share best practices and ask questions. As we are having you all watch this video on your own time when you like, we will ask you to attend one of our scheduled Q&A sessions in order to be able to come together with other presidents and ask any questions you might have after watching this. You will be able to select one that works for your schedule. Please note that if you are a Greek Life president, the Q&A session does not apply to you. This training is mandatory in order to operate as a student organization at TCU, so in order to receive credit for attending, you will need to fill out the pretest prior to watching this video, which should have occurred prior to you clicking on this training. Watch this video. After watching this video, you will indicate which Q&A session you'd like to attend, so have your calendars ready, and then fill out the post-test. We will email you this after attending a Q&A session.
As we know you are all busy leaders balancing classes, your involvement, and other priorities, we hope this way of providing the training helps you to balance your organization responsibility with your other ones. In addition to this training, to summarize the requirements of you for this semester as presidents, you will need to review and acknowledge that you will abide by TCU's guidelines when it comes to your meetings and events this semester, keeping everyone's safety at the forefront of the decisions you make as leaders. Attend a training that is focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion within your student organization, and complete re-registration for your organization.
In today's training, we will cover quite a few things. Tips for you in your role that will lead to success, types of risk inherent to student organizations, your responsibility when it comes to those risks, and how you can mitigate that, resources at TCU for you, TCU's policies and procedures when it comes to a variety of different items such as finances, swag for your orgs, media guidelines, and how to reserve spaces on campus. We will discuss TCU Engage and its many ways to help support your org operations, as well as how our office can best provide you with opportunities and support.
First, we wanted to go over a few things that will allow you to be a successful student organization at TCU. TCU Engage is our involvement platform, and all registered in good standing organizations have the opportunity to manage their organization operations through it. For that reason, it is important to update your TCU Engage page frequently. Some organizations use a variety of different platforms to manage their orgs, such as Google Docs, spreadsheets saved on their on leaders' own drives, social media, etc. We're not saying to not use those resources, but chances are the things on Engage and the functions that you may not even have known about that were there really could be a great resource for you. Also, having your documents on Engage helps when you transition officers to ensure that all of those items are being properly transferred over. We'll discuss Engage in a little more detail later. In order to maintain the minimum number of students you need to be in good standing, you need 10 students as part of your organization. We encourage you to bring in different class years or majors to help with retention and the future of your organization, depending on what the membership requirements are. We also recommend that you go beyond just your friend groups to market your organization, but you'll need to maintain your current roster list on Engage. Connectivity and consistency is key for student organizations. Your members want to see each other and build community. And building community was our theme for student organizations this year, and building intentionality is going to be that for 2021, which is also tied in. For that reason, it is important for you to have at least one meeting or event each month at a minimum, whether that is on Zoom or another platform or in person. Keep in mind, we do have guidelines about both virtual and in-person events this semester, given our current situation with COVID-19. Money is always a need for student organizations. I recommend charging dues for your members so that you have a base of funding, but also to ensure that members are committed to your organization and they can see where their dues are spent, whether that's for snacks, swag, or other things. Lastly, your human capital will help you be successful. You as the president need to ensure your leadership or exec team is prepared and communicating as well as on the same page. Your advisor is also an integral piece to your team. He or she should be aware of what you're doing, and you should have meetings with them at a minimum of each month.
There are a few ways for you all to maintain connection. We will manage your orgs on Engage, but we will also have our president's page where we have a variety of resources posted for you. We also have resources on our student organization's website. Additionally, this semester we have 2 new additions for you to maintain connection: a group meet for all presidents, and on Mondays from 5 to 6 p.m. we will have president chats, which will occur every Monday. If you have ideas for topics you want to see covered during our chats, there is a form you can fill out on the president's page to submit ideas.
I'm a big believer in the power of a good quote, so I wanted to share one with you today. This quote says, "Knowledge will bring you the opportunity to make a difference." As leaders of your organization, you're in a position of power, privilege, trust, and respect. Your members look to you for direction and leadership. As such, by learning all of what you will learn today and by developing more in your own skills, you will make a difference. We know that you all want to make a positive impact within your organization, TCU, and the larger community. And to do that, you have to be prepared and continually learning and developing yourself. We want to quickly go over your role as president, as it is important to differentiate what you're supposed to do versus your advisor or someone else in your org. Annually, we require every organization to re-register. This shows us your intent to move forward, update your information, such as your roster and constitution, and to stay in good standing with TCU. It is up to you to ensure that meetings and events are planned. You may not actually be the one doing the planning, as that might be one of your leadership team members, but you need to ensure it happens, and especially this semester, that it is happening according to our spring 2021 guidelines for the safety of our community. As president, you should be listed as the primary contact on TCU Engage, as well as correspond on behalf of the organization. It is up to you to communicate with not only your organization, but also your advisor. Your role is also to provide clear vision, dedicated direction, and engaged leadership for your organization. In order to build and grow for the future, we also expect that you will look at your membership to recruit and groom the future leaders after you've transitioned from your role. Additionally, as president, you tend to have your finger on the pulse of the organization. You will know when it's a stressful time of the semester or when people just need to communicate more, so you can ensure that team building is introduced and that morale is being addressed. This semester, with some of your members joining you virtually and some even from their home country, state, and city, that's even more important.
There are so many components that go into the operations of an organization beyond just bringing a community of people together who are focused on shared values and common goals. Within those operations, there are also the following components: creating events, reserving spaces, dealing with risk management and conduct, potentially interfacing with outside media and speakers, licensing with your TCU organization and org swag, working with outside vendors, managing and possibly an off-campus bank account, and lastly, developing leaders. As we know this is a lot, we will try and cover as much of that as we can today, but we will also have other opportunities for you to attend optional trainings on these topics throughout the year as well. After attending this training, we expect that you will understand the governing policy of Texas State Bill 1138 and its organizational requirements for TCU, be able to identify types of risk associated with organizational participation and how to mitigate those risks, and be aware of campus and community resources to assist you.
Okay, let's talk about State Bill 1138. It mandates that all higher education entities provide risk management education for its members, leaders, and advisors. That is one of the many reasons you are required to attend this training, but we also want to make sure that you're confident in your role, you have your questions answered, and you know how to maintain safety for your members and organization. Given that we are only requiring you as president to complete this training, it is up to you to ensure your fellow leaders are aware of the risk associated with organizations. Additionally, your advisor will be required to go through this training as well. Normally, when we meet in person, we will ask you to share what you think are some types of risk within student organization. But as we are not in person, take a second to think and consider this question and what could possibly be considered within the risk component of your organization. Risk can occur in a variety of different ways within organizations. What we will focus on today are the following types: alcohol and drug, hazing, discrimination, sexual assault and harassment, firearm and safety issues, student travel, and behavior on and off campus.
When it comes to alcohol, TCU addresses this within its Code of Conduct and Alcohol Policy and can lead to the following consequences: monetary fines, removal from a dorm or organization, and disciplinary action or suspension from TCU. The main things for you to consider is that students cannot purchase alcohol with organization funds, purchase, serve, or sell alcohol to minors, or have alcohol at your organization meetings or events, or participate in drinking games. If your organization is a part of a national or local organization, you may also want to check their policies. Just remember, alcohol has no place within your organization's operations.
When it comes to drugs, when we're in person, I generally have everyone repeat the bolded statement on this slide. Don't do drugs, it's illegal. I'm not trying to make light of it, but drugs should not be a part of your organization's operations either, just like alcohol. When we think about drugs, we tend to think about just illegal drugs or controlled substances, but I do want you to also consider over-the-counter medicine. Take this for example. There is case law of this happening at another institution. A student was not feeling well at their organization's event. They mentioned this to a student leader on the exec board. That student leader reached into their bag or purse and handed that student an over-the-counter medicine. That student then ended up in the hospital. That student or their parents then ended up suing the student organization and specifically that student. Because there was a chain of the occurrence, they were able to link the over-the-counter medicine with the hospitalization. So if you're faced with this situation, you should either tell the student who's not feeling well to go home and get better, or you can advise them to go to a local pharmacy and pick up their own medicine. So again, keep in mind, drugs in your organization should not mix. Next, we're going to go over hazing. So I want you to take a minute to consider what is hazing and what are some examples of that. According to Texas Senate Bill 24, hazing is anything that endangers the mental or physical health or safety of a student in order to be selected for, initiated into, or maintain membership or holding a leadership position within an organization. If you're aware of hazing going on at TCU, it is your responsibility to report it to our hazing hotline, 817-257-HAZE. Every student organization at TCU has agreed to TCU's anti-hazing statement as it is included in each of your constitutions. Hazing can come in a lot of different forms. It can include things such as physical brutality, such as hitting, paddling, and branding, and physical activity, such as sleep deprivation, exposure to the elements, confinement, calisthenics, or any other activity that places the student at unreasonable risk or harm. It also includes any activity that forces or encourages the consumption of food, liquid, alcohol, drugs, or any other substance. Additionally, it can be any activity where a student can experience extreme stress, shame, humiliation, or something that adversely impacts a student from entering, remaining in, or leaving in an organization. I want you to also understand that if a student consents to hazing, that's not allowed. There should not be any hazing at TCU or within your student organizations. Consider this, there is a difference between intent and perception. Even if one of your activities has the intent of team building or tradition making, it may not be perceived in that way from your members. So please consider all of your activities and processes to see if anything that you're currently doing or plan on doing could be perceived as hazing. If you have questions, feel free to contact our office. In addition to the fact that I know you would never want any of your members to feel as if their physical or mental health is endangered, there are also very large fines and potential jail time if hazing occurs. Again, hazing is not allowed at TCU. TCU values an inclusive community. As such, TCU prohibits discrimination and harassment on the basis of any identities protected by law, and those include age, race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity, gender expression, national or ethnic origin, disability, genetic information, or veteran status. Within your constitutions, you have all agreed to abide by TCU's non-discriminatory clause in your selection of students for your organization as well as your membership. You should always consider your organization's practices to think about whether anything that you are doing could be considered discrimination. If you are aware of discrimination or harassment, you should contact the Title IX office at 817-257-8228 or title9@tcu.edu. We know that when you entered TCU, you were required to take a training on sexual harassment and misconduct. As we know, you are already aware of these examples. We won't go into a lot of detail about defining them, but they do include intimate partner violence, which is dating and domestic, sexual and gender-based harassment, sexual assault, sexual exploitation, and stalking. The reason this is an element of risk for you to consider is that because you're in a position of trust and respect, you might have a fellow student or member of your organization divulge something to you. We want to ensure you have the information to share with them. On the next few pages, we are including some resources and services both at TCU and off campus.
This page covers resources on TCU's campus, such as the TCU Police, Title IX Office, Campus Life, Counseling and Health Center, Counseling Hotline, and the Religious and Spiritual Life Office. The resources with an asterisk are available 24 hours a day. These resources are ones you can find off campus. We will provide you with both of these lists on the President's page so that you can have access to them and even save them to keep in your own files as well. Fire safety is important at TCU. How this applies to you all in organizations is that when you have in-person meetings, you will have a collected group of students together and you need to ensure that no one sets a fire, everyone evacuates when a fire alarm goes off, no one sets off a false fire alarm, and no one misuses fire safety equipment. As TCU is a private institution, we had the opportunity to decide on whether or not concealed handguns and other weapons were allowed on campus. TCU does not allow the possession, storage, or use of firearms, openly carried or concealed, or other weapons on our property, at athletic events, in our buildings, or on our grounds, or in vehicles. Please note some of those examples of weapons, including guns, knives, bombs, martial arts devices, etc. Possession of these may result in expulsion. We asked our TCU Police Department to provide some crime prevention tips for you, and here's what they said. To report an emergency, call TCU Police at extension 7777 or utilize your Frog Shield app to alert police. You should all download this app if you have not already done so. Dial 911 from any of the blue light phones on campus. And if you are on campus, TCU Police will be here quicker than calling 911, so just keep that in mind. As sometimes you have your meetings later in the evening, use a buddy system when walking to your car or dorm. Call Froggy 50 for an escort and walk along lighted pathways. Also, alarm your vehicle. We always recommend if you see something, say something.
When it comes to travel, we are not going to go into a great amount of detail about this during this training, as all university-sponsored travel is suspended now through May 15th, 2021. We know that some of you are still wanting to do off-campus experiences, such as site visits, service opportunities, and maybe other things within that travel aspect. We need you to consider the question of, could any of our processes lead to the potential spread of COVID-19? Generally, with travel of any kind, it might. If you have specific questions about travel, contact us. At TCU, the Code of Conduct is our overarching governing policy, and then comes our Student Organization Handbook. We also want you to know that if your organization is operating within an academic department, is a sport club, fraternity and sorority life organization, or a religious organization, you need to familiarize yourself with their policies as well. Additionally, if your organization is a part of a national or local organization, review their policies. If the national or local policies are ever in disagreement with TCU's policies will be the ones you need to follow as you're operating on our campus. As we know it's important to have money to operate your organizations, we wanted to share with you some important things to consider and resources. The sources of income as an organization that you might have include dues, fundraising, and donations. When it comes to the management of your funds, that is at the discretion of your organization currently. We hope to have some additional policies in place soon regarding this, and we'll keep you updated. We encourage you to either create an off-campus bank account or have a departmental account set up through the department if your organization is associated one, if that's an option. It is best practice to have 2 signatures on all expenditures and to keep track of expenses in a spreadsheet in your records. We do not recommend the use of PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App to get money from your members, as there could be security issues. And then also you want to keep all organization funds separate from your personal funds, as you have a fiduciary and legal responsibility to ensure all funds are handled correctly. As a registered in good standing organization, you have the ability to apply for funding through SGA. You can apply every semester, but you will need to apply, make an appointment for a presentation to their finance committee, and then present to them. You will need to have specific numbers in mind when you put the request in. We do encourage you to apply for SGA funding, as that is funding from your undergraduate student fees designated for this very purpose. If you're a graduate student only organization, unfortunately, you cannot apply for funds from SGA. Visit SGA's website for more details. If you'd like to practice your presentation with Sierra or I, we are more than happy to help. We are not a part of this process as it is completely student run, but we're happy to provide you with feedback and pointers. Also, there's an opportunity to apply for funds through Frog Funding. It is new as of last year, and if you have a specific funding need, this would be a great opportunity. Each month, a committee of TCU staff chooses a handful of organizations or departments to feature, and it is TCU's crowdfunding app. The great thing about this is you have a wider reach on it, as someone's grandma in Wisconsin can donate to this and alumni can contribute too. This process is more time consuming of an application than SGA's though, so keep that in mind.
As we know, you want to advertise your orgs through Cool Swag, so let us help you. You do not need to find a vendor or determine what the design needs to look like beyond your idea. We do want you to keep in mind that TCU's brand is strong. Whether it is our carefully selected purple carpets or emblems throughout campus, we want to protect our brand and ensure it is in line with approved ways to use our logos and colors. For that reason, we don't want your cousin's girlfriend's father who owns a screen printing business to make your swag, and in fact, he can't. If you are a student organization at TCU, you are required to use an approved vendor, and it actually helps you as you don't have to go and hunt for one. They know the approved requirements of TCU's logo and colors to use, so that takes out the guesswork for you, and they want to help you. You can go to brand.tcu.edu and click on the approved vendors list to find a list of vendors to contact to create and order your swag through. We will also provide some opportunities for you to learn more about vendors this semester during our president chats. Here are some tips for swag. Be upfront about your budget with vendors. The approved vendors on our list will work with you to keep your costs down. Make sure you are being planful and give enough time for the design, order, and receipt of your items. Lastly, get creative and have fun. TCU wants to protect you all as students from having to make decisions regarding media, and we also have some strict policies in place to do so. If you have an event that is open to the public, you do need to let our office know, as your event or a speaker may garner attention from local media. You must obtain approval at least 2 weeks prior for media to be on campus. Media must be escorted at all times, and they can only gather footage, which include images, videos, and sound recordings, at the location of the event, not anywhere else on campus. For events only open to TCU, outside media cannot attend. Media can only set up on a public sidewalk to capture B-roll footage. Let us know if you have any questions about outside media.
This semester, we continue to encourage you to have your meetings and events virtually if possible, given our current situation with COVID-19 and the need to protect our community from the potential spread of the virus. Additionally, since not all of your members may be on or near campus because they may be joining us from their home country, state, or city, it's helpful to have a way for them to still remain connected virtually. However, if it is essential to have in-person events and you can do so safely, you will need to read over the meeting and event guidelines for student organizations document to ensure you are following all policies. After doing so, you will fill out a form acknowledging that you agree to abide by our policies. To reserve space at TCU, keep in mind we have a variety of different reservation systems. Academic space is a priority this semester for all locations, and the capacity of how many people can be in a room has been drastically reduced because of COVID-19. You must maintain the new capacities of that space that you would like to use. To book space in the blue, KFCB, the Commons, or the Founders Statue, you will go to the union.tcu.edu website. To book space in classrooms or academic buildings, you will go to the registrar's website. To book space in the rec center, you'll go to their website. Again, safety is key this semester, so when hosting an in-person event, you must maintain 6 feet between all attendees. They need to wear face coverings over the mouth and nose. You'll need to communicate out safety protocols to your attendees and think through the question of, could any of our processes potentially lead to the spread of COVID-19? And if the answer is yes, reconsider what you can do. If you or anyone else attending an event does not feel well, just stay home. Additionally, you will have to create an event on Engage for every meeting and event that you have. As mentioned earlier, it is important for you to utilize your TCU Engage page, and to do that, we want to ensure that you know the resources it provides, as there's really a lot of cool features. We won't go into a great amount of detail or even show you these tools just yet, but we encourage you to join us for an Engage training sometime this semester to learn more. It is important for you to update your rosters with the current students who are in your organization, removing any students who've graduated or are no longer at TCU or in your organization. On your roster, you can also create and manage positions such as your leadership board positions and give access to your leaders. You can also email and text message your members through the roster. Also remember to invite or approve new members that you've met this semester, whether that's through the org fair or something else. It is also required to create events for everything you are doing as an organization, whether it's virtual or in person. We provided a detailed version of how to create an event in the Meetings and Events Guideline document, and we also have a video posted showing how you can do this. You can additionally create forms for a variety of things such as applications, surveys, or other things. You can also save documents that would be useful for the good of your group. You can also limit access to some files if you just want your exec team to be able to see it. There's also a photo gallery option, which is a great place for you to upload your photos so that they're not only housed on your phone or on your social media, but that you have a historical record in case you want to use them in the future. If you'd like even more engagement on your page, the newsletter function could help you with that. You can also select for your events to show up in your members' co-curricular transcript or event history on Engage, which is really helpful when you try and think back to all the things you've done at TCU. We also recommend that you and your members click on your personal profile to ensure your cell phone is correct and that all the organization you're a part of actually show up. As this is an integral time in bringing new members in at the beginning of the semester, we recommend that you look at your Engage page and make updates now. We have several resources that our office provides to you. We're happy to assist you with trainings on leadership and team building, but also around successfully operating your organization, which might include assistance with marketing, event planning, member recruitment and engagement, or even just meeting your mission and your goals. You can set up a meeting with Sierra or I. We also have 2 President connection points, the President chats and the GroupMe. If you're not on our email list or in the GroupMe, just let us know. We are also your go-to assistants for help with TCU Engage. So if you want a training with us, with yourself or your exec members, or if you have questions about it, just let us know. We also will continue to take over the SDS Instagram on Wednesdays. So we're happy to advertise your upcoming meetings and events. And we also encourage you to partner with the crew on your events and post them on what to do at TCU in addition to being advertised on TCU Engage. If you have questions, please write those down and ensure you ask them during the Q&A session that you attend. The Q&A sessions will be a great opportunity for you to connect with other leaders and get your questions answered. Remember, attending a Q&A session is required for all presidents except if you're a Greek Life president. We hope this information was helpful as you lead your student organization. Remember that Sierra and I are here to assist you, so let us know if you need anything. Go forth and lead. We look forward to seeing what you accomplish in 2021, and go Frogs!